Good afternoon, listeners and learners. I am Dr. Sunil Gupta, Faculty, School of Management Studies, Indira Gandhi National Open University. So first of all, I extend my heartiest wishes for this teleconferencing session. See, today the topic for discussion is product life cycle and marketing strategies. Students, you might be knowing that this topic that we have chosen from marketing, it is the part of marketing management, that is MCO6, and you can have the same topic in application oriented course, that is AMK, that is application oriented course in marketing. So the topic product life cycle and marketing strategies. Students, you might be knowing that a product has to pass through different phases of the life cycle of the life cycle throughout its life. See, first of all, the introductory stage is there when the product is introduced in the market, and then with the passage of the time it grows, so then the growth stage will be there, and after the growth stage then the maturity stage come, and ultimately the product has to come to the declining stage. It means the product has to perish in the time to come after the maturity stage. So therefore, at the different phases or the different phases of the product during the life cycle, the marketer or the producer has to adopt different strategies in order to earn maximum profit or in order to compete with the competitors available in the market. Because if the different strategies are not adopted well in time during the different phases of the life cycle of the product, in that case it will be rather next to impossible for the marketer to sustain in the market. So therefore the different strategies have to be adopted. So in order to discuss these issues in detail, we have Professor Sanjeev Mittal, who is a well learned and expert in the field of marketing. He is a professor in Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, Kashmiri Gate, Delhi. So I welcome Professor Mittal and hand over the session to discuss the topic further.
Thank you, Dr. Sunil. And dear students, it is again good afternoon from my side. And as has already been told to you, that this topic, product life cycle and marketing strategies, relate to your marketing management course. And it has already been explained by Dr. Gupta that whenever we talk in terms of marketplace, what we find is that there is a lot of competition. And when we talk of competition, friends, and we have got our own product out over there, then we have to be very clear that the product passes through various types of phases or various types of stages. Now the marketeer has to be very well clear about what are these stages through which the product passes. We can also understand the life cycle of the product in comparison with when we talk of an individual. Then also we talk in terms of that the individual also passes through various types of life stages. Like say for example, when we talk in terms of an individual or for a person, we say the person has been born, and then the person goes in for adolescence. After that he gets some type of a maturity, and after that what happens is that he starts declining, that means he grows old. Similarly, friends, whenever the product is introduced in the market, it also passes through these various types of stages. So therefore the first stage when we talk of is also called as introduction stage. Why we say this as an introduction stage? That means by lot of promotional efforts the product has been introduced over there in the market. But one thing is very clear, in marketing we are not product focused, but we are what? Customer focused. But once we have identified what are the needs and wants of the customer, that means what are the current problems of the customer, as a marketeer I am interested to look in for what can be the type of the product which can satisfy those types of needs. I illustrate with the help of a very small example. Friends, we are talking in terms of today's age, and we find that electricity is very costly. Every unit of electricity, say for example, costs us somewhere around 4 rupees, and therefore the consumers are interested to what? Looking for saving on the electricity. So that means the consumers have got a problem that what type of electrical bulb they can have which can save on the electricity. And friends, looking on for this type of a problem of a consumer, the marketeers have come out with a type of a product which is called as CFL. And when we talk in terms of CFL, this is a type of a fluorescent lamp and called as compact fluorescent lamp, which basically is an energy saver. That means the electricity that it consumes is less, but the type of the light it emits is almost the same. I say that this is the new product which has been introduced in the market in comparison to the tube or the bulb which you had already seen. Now whenever we introduce the product, since it is a new product in the market, therefore what we'll find is that awareness is not there, visibility is not there. Hence a lot of efforts had to be therefore spent by the marketeer in order to make this product popular in the market. And for that the marketeer has to spend a lot of money in terms of advertising or in terms of promotion. Now since the product is being introduced in the market, that means the consumers are being made aware of the type of the product. For that particular reason, now you can see out over here a type of a life cycle also. Now these are the 4 stages. If you see out over here, introduction, growth, maturity and decline, and 2 types of factors we have taken into account. One is the time, that is on the x-axis, and if you look on the y-axis, we have taken sales. That means with the passage of time, the product is moving ahead in the market, and accordingly its sales is on the rise. Now I am just trying to discuss this first stage, which is called as an introduction stage. And if looking for this introduction stage, what we find is that what are the type of characteristics of this type of a stage. You find we have low sales, we have high cost per customer, we have negative profits, we have customers as innovators, and few competitors. All the competitors are few, I do agree, but friends, try to understand that a lot of expenses have to be made by the marketeer in terms of promotion of the product. And as a result of that, what we find is that we do not have much of the profits at this particular stage. Or I can say more or less the profit are what? Non-existent. What type of therefore marketing strategies we recommend at this particular stage for the marketeers? And if you look in for this type of a presentation which I have made for you, you can look in for what type of marketing strategies we are having. First of all, see what is the marketing objective. I have already said it is to create product awareness and trial. We have to encourage more and more consumers in the market to accept the product as well as to what? Put the product to trial. And for that, offer a basic product, charge cost plus price. That means we even have to what? Think in terms of keeping our prices low. We are not talking in terms of profit margins at all. We talk in terms of selective distribution. Why? Because if the product is new, you will even not find what? Takers in the market in terms of the distributors. And for that particular reason, what we do is that if there are not much of the distributors available in the market, let us try to build selective distribution. We can motivate few of the distributors who may be prepared to what? Stock our product. And then another strategy is that create product awareness. You can see product awareness among early adopters and dealers. That means if this awareness can be created among the adopters, these adopters are risk-taking individuals in the market and they are always prepared to try something new which is there in the market. So if we can convince these adopters, and friends, through these adopters, when the product goes into the market and others also see the product and they find what the product is really good product, then basically what we find is that we have other types of consumers also who start accepting this product. Now what is the next strategy that we recommend is use heavy sales promotion to try build product trials. I've already said, when we talk of sales promotion, friend, again what we can think in terms of is that along with the promotional message, we can give some type of an incentive to our consumer that if you will come and try this particular product, maybe you will get some type of discount, you get some type of freebies. That means along with CFL, we can offer some type of a soap free. Now if you are looking for the ads which are coming for the Philips CFL these days, you are finding what? They are giving one soap free. So that means with this type of an incentive, the product trials are introduced in the market, and as a result of that, the product basically is well introduced in the market. Now friends, once the product has been introduced in the market, now this is not the end of the story. What happens is that now since consumers have started using it, they have adopted the product, more and more consumers want to have the product. And as a result of that, what we find, more and more competitors also start coming in the market. And as a result of that, what we find, there are, instead of 1 or 2, we have more manufacturers in the market who start producing the product. So this is how exactly the competition start increasing, but simultaneously sales also start growing. And therefore that is therefore called as the next stage, called as a growth stage.
Excuse me, Professor Mittal, I would like to ask one question. It means that at the introductory stage, so when customers are not aware about the product, so first of all we will have to create the awareness among the customer.
Very right.
So that they can come to know about the product, that this product is available in the market.
Very nice.
The second strategy is that we have to provide some sort of discount so that they can feel motivated, that in case if buy this product, then along with this product we are again going to have something extra. And then something we will have to keep the price low for the product, because in case if at the initial stage we are putting the price at the higher side, in that case maybe that we won't be in a position to attract the customer because of the high price. So these are the three main things we will have to adopt at the
Very nice. And yeah, Dr. Gupta, you have rightly said that these are the important strategies which we have to look in for. But ultimately, even sometimes the marketeers, they go to the home of the consumer also in terms of offering samples. Now, when basically samples are given and these are given free of cost, these will also induce trials.
Yes.
Because consumer will be motivated to basically give a try to the product. And therefore, this is a very important stage, because till the time awareness is created, visibility is created. And how this visibility is created? Again, with the help of what? The ads only. Because advertising and sales promotion are combined. I again illustrate with the help of a small example. You have seen when this Ujala was introduced in the market, that was a type of a, what you can say, a coloring material, blue coloring material, which was used to give whitening to the, say, white clothes. So, what was the ad that was given? Char boondon wala, char boondon wala, char boondon wala. Ultimately, consumer was made to ask this particular question, yaar batao to sahi, what is this char boondon wala? And then it was told to the consumer, char boondon wala ujala. And this is how exactly they have created an awareness. And once that type of information has been given, there automatically there will be some type of curiosity that has been created. And when that curiosity is created, definitely a question is asked by the consumer, batao yaar kya hai ye? Why you are trying to tease me? And this is how exactly then the marketeer spells out the name Ujala. Then again the consumer is confused. What is this Ujala bhai? And then they said, चार बूंदों वाला उजाला जो पानी में घुल मिल जाए और कपड़ों के रेशे रेशे में जाए और क्या दे? सफेदी और उज्जवल सफेदी. And this is how exactly now the consumer is aware. ओहो अच्छा अच्छा, जो हम basically Robins use करते थे, Robin Blue, इसका मतलब ये एक और product है which basically is what? In the form of Ujala. So that is how exactly when we talk of a category and new products are introduced in those types of category, the first thing is that we have to create awareness. So I think rightly you have said that this awareness has to be created. Now friends, we were basically now moving to the next stage, and this is how exactly the product moves to the next stage. Because if we look in for the market and we look in for now the consumers have accepted the product, that means they have given a trial to the product, automatically the demand is on the higher side, and this is how exactly the sales grow. And when we look in for the second stage, when the sales grow, this stage is called as a growth stage. Again look in for the presentation friends, and you will be finding when we talk of the growth stage, what are the characteristics of this growth stage? Rapidly rising sales. Sales are on the rise. Second is average cost per customer is basically now coming down, because what we are finding, the expenses if are on the rise but are distributed over a larger volume, and therefore the average cost per customer comes down. On the basis of this, as a result of this, what we find, profits also start coming to the organization. We are having what a next category of the consumers who enter into the market, and those consumers are called as early adopters. And when these early adopters also come along with what we are talking in terms of the innovators, we are finding further the market share improves, and this is how exactly the sales grow. And then we are finding what? Not only the sales is on the rise and the customers are on the rise, but simultaneously what we find, I have already said, other manufacturers also start coming in the market, and this is how exactly the competition also grows. Now, when we are finding these are the characteristics of the growth stage, friends, let us also try to look in for what are the various types of strategies that are to be followed by whom? By the marketeer at this particular stage. Because sales are rising. I cannot sit back at my own organization and basically relax. Since the sales are on the higher side, therefore I have not to do anything. No. Again, there is a very important task for the marketeers out over here at this particular stage. The objective is to maximize the market share. That means we want to basically cut the competition and be ahead of the competitors. And therefore, what type of marketing strategies are recommended at this particular stage? Again, look for the presentation, friends. The first strategy that we recommend is offer product extensions, services and warranties. That means when you are trying to offer a type of a product, offer different variations. Like you have looked in for what? Lux. We have Lux in a solid form, we have Lux in a liquid form. We even when we talk in terms of a Lux in a solid form, we have what? Lux, which is again catering to different requirements of the consumer. Lux basically meant for dry skin, Lux meant for wet skin, Lux meant for oily skin. So when I am trying to have different variants of the same product in different shapes, sizes, in different odors, it means what? I am trying to offer product extensions. Right? When I offer these product extensions, I am giving more choice to the consumer. And this is how exactly further the sales grow up in the market. Not only that, I have also to basically back my product with the services. If the product is such type, like say for example, I am talking in terms of consumer durables. Whenever we talk of consumer durables and new variants of the durables have been introduced in the market, we have to back our product with what? With the after sales services. If the services are not up to the mark, again what we'll find, customer will be dissatisfied, and again instead of rising sales, we'll find what? The sales will start coming down. And when we talk in terms of services, in terms of after sales services, the customers in India are also looking in for what are called as product warranties. And warranties are in terms of what? Say for example, if there is some type of a defect in the product, they are either looking in for repair or replacement. And that is the basic difference between a guarantee and a warranty. Warranty means repair and guarantee means replacement. But consumer is satisfied even if the product can be repaired without asking them to pay any amount of money. I think they are also satisfied. So companies therefore what have this very important strategy that they not only introduce in the market the different variants of the product, but also back their product with the services along with what? These types of warranty schemes, so that they are in a position to be ahead of the competitors. Now besides that, what they do is that they further try to offer various types of price combinations and various types of price discounts to the consumers in order to further penetrate into the market. And what happens is that again at this particular stage also company says, okay fine, if you buy this product and if this much quantity of the product you are going to buy, then we are going to offer certain more discount to you. So by offering discounts, by offering some type of freebies, like you buy one you get another one free, they are in a position to what? Create a message in the market that here is a company who is offering various types of benefits to the consumer. And this is normally a psychology of a consumer, friends, which we have to understand, that they are always interested to what? Have more and more benefits from the marketeers. Not only that, now what happened is that now since the product is now very popular in the market, it has been well accepted in the market, there will be more dealers and distributors to what? Become dealers and distributors for us. And therefore what happens is that we increase further our pace of distribution also. And we, instead of going in for selective distribution, in this stage we go for intensive distribution. You can see for the slide. And if you look in for the slide, what you find is that we go in for intensive distribution. Now this is at the third stage which I have said, we have to build intensive distribution. The next fourth strategy that we have to again look in for is that build awareness and interest in the mass market. Now we have to have ways and means in order to create a mass market for us. And this is how exactly we even do not reduce the amount of the advertising, but we rather link our advertising budget to our sales. So as the sales keep on increasing, our budget for advertising also keeps on increasing. And earlier we were trying to basically advertise for our product, say for example in a regional area. Now we try to advertise for our product at a national level, so that at least more and more consumers are aware of it, and therefore more and more acceptability of the product takes place. Now besides that, what happened is that now since we have already resorted to a lot of advertising, we also do not want to give this type of a feeling to our consumer that product of its own will not move in the market. Therefore what happened is that marketeers reduce what sales promotion, and therefore give more emphasis on the advertising, which is basically a role of information and education. And therefore give a type of a confidence to a consumer that once you will try this particular product, you will never find what let down. And through the schemes of what we are talking in terms of no questions asked and satisfaction guaranteed and many more such type of what offers in the market, they are in a position to create a message in the market that consumers, we have got a product which basically is going to give a lot of benefits to you. And this is how exactly a word of mouth spreads in the market and the product enters into the mass stage, and that is therefore called as a growth stage, right? Now after this growth stage, what happens is that now the product is further moving and into the market, sales are on the rise, and what happens is that sales reaches to a particular peak, and that is therefore called as a maturity phase. And when we talk in terms of this maturity phase, again what we have to look in for is that sales at this particular phase is the maximum. And if you look in for the cost of customer, we find what it is at the lowest cost, because we are in a position to what? Further distribute our cost over a larger volume, because sales have already peaked up. And the third, if you look in for profits, are the maximum at this particular stage, because we are having the maximum sales and therefore the maximum profits. And then what we are finding is that almost most of the customers, we are talking in terms of early majority, and late majority has already entered into this particular market, and as a result of which what we find is that sales have already peaked up. And not only that, when the sales is at its maximum, now competition also comes to its maximum. And what we find is that there are stable number of competitors, and once there are stable number of competitors, what happens is that after this, what happens is that the sales start declining. So therefore, further addition of the competitors is not there once this phase comes, called as a maturity phase. But students, you have to be very clear, why as a marketeer we will be interested to basically look in for that our product has reached a maturity phase. Now, every effort will be made by the marketeer to extend this maturity phase. That means if there are sales to a company, these sales should come to a company for a fairly long period of time. And for that particular reason, the companies as marketeers are trying to adopt various types of strategies. And let's try to see what type of strategies the companies are adopting in order to further extend this maturity phase. You can just take an example of black and white TV. And the companies who were into the production of black and white TV made all efforts, friends, all attempts in order to extend this particular phase so that they are in a position to keep on selling what is called as black and white TV. And friends, we had seen that once they were not in a position to basically create further market for the black and white TV, and because they had already seen a new product has already been introduced in the market, and now consumers are after that product, and that was color television, finally they decided to phase out their manufacturing of the black and white TV and diversified into manufacturing of color TV. And this is how exactly what we find is that use of technology, or we are finding we are trying to convince the consumers that why don't you go in for an exchange offer. You have seen in the market we have exchange offer. These exchange offers also help the consumer to further purchase the product. And this also gives additional sales to the company. But what type of exact marketing strategies are followed? Let us try to see with the help of again a slide. And if you look in for this slide, what type of marketing strategies that we are recommending. Now, what we say is that we diversify the brands and the models. That means we introduce more and more brands. We also introduce for the same product different type of models. Like in case of TVs only, you have seen flat screens. We had now various types of plasma models, or we are talking of LCD models in the market. So these are the use of different technologies in order to extend this phase of the maturity phase. Then price to buy the best competitors. That means we are also trying to bring down our prices. That means we again feel like even if we are not getting anything, we don't mind, because we have already earned a lot of money. Therefore, what happens is that we are trying to reduce the prices to match the competitor's price. We also build in more and more distribution. That means we try to reach in those areas which has not been covered so far by us. That means if we are over here in one particular state, we try to cover all states, then into the rural areas, and this is how exactly we try to further extend our maturity phase. Then not only that, in advertising we stress brand differences and benefits. That means now the cut-through competition come among the competitors, and as a result of that, they try to emphasize upon the brand differences. Then what we do is that we increase sales promotion to encourage brand switching. Now this is how exactly now in this particular phase we are using again more and more use of sales promotion, because through these sales promotion again we are trying to convince the consumer that if you will go in for our product, then we are going to give you some additional benefits. So we have seen that the sales promotion has been used in the introduction phase as well as in the maturity phase. But advertising, if you talk in terms of, it has been used in the introduction stage and in the growth stage. But we are reducing our advertising in the maturity stage because we had already seen that we are not going to get much of the leverage through advertising. So we only do that much of advertising till the time we are in a position to promote these sales. That means we have to combine sales promotion information with advertising. So that is how exactly the advertising usage is limited, sales promotion usage is increased, distribution is further enhanced, prices are cut in order to kill the competition in the market, so that we are in a position to maximize and still maximize our sales. We basically look in for diversifying our brands. We introduce more and more brands in the market as well as with new and new models in the market. So this is how exactly marketeer is a very dynamic person. He is always in touch with the marketplace. And when I say we are in touch with the marketplace, it means We are always sensing and having a feeling of what the consumers are looking in for. And therefore, once we are reading the psychology of the consumer, we are always in a position to know now what the consumer wants. So therefore, if we feel in the market that now the consumer is not satisfied with the existing product, why? Because a new product has been introduced in the market, it means that particular product has already reached its maturity and now will be the phase which will be called as a decline phase. And this is how exactly the product moves into what the decline stage. So, but I just would like to add it out over here that it will be very, very what you can say problem for a marketeer if the decline phase for any type of a product comes at a very early stage. Why? Because whatever investments the marketeers have done in marketing or in advertising, if that investment the marketer is not in a position to recover, then what is the use the marketer is trying to have? And that is why all these types of gimmicks, all these types of game plans, all these types of strategies the marketeers are trying to use in order to extend their maturity phase so that they are in a position to recover whatever investments they have made. But friends, marketeer, if you look in for, they are not a static type of an individual, and they are therefore always in touch with the market. And as soon as they learn that now no longer the product is going to be acceptable in the market and what phase has come, it is the next phase called as a decline phase. And if you look in for this decline phase, friends, what we find, what are the characteristics of this decline phase? Look in for, sales are declining. Yes, I think everybody will agree, because it's a decline phase, therefore sales will start coming down. What we'll find? Now low cost per customer. Why the low cost of customer? We have reduced our marketing expenses, therefore the cost automatically has come down. When the sales are low, cost is low, automatically low cost per customer. Declining profits. Profits more or less will start eroding. Why? Because when the sales are coming down, we are also trying to cut down our prices. We will not be in a position to have more or less what we talk of profits. Similarly, if you talk in terms of the customers, whatever customers are left over here in the market, they are called as laggards. And when we talk of these laggards, their total composition, if you look in for, is not more than 10 to 12%. So that means 10 to 12% of these customers are only there in the market who basically are there to basically accept the product, and they are the laggards. That the late latif जिनको हम बोलते हैं. और ये लेट लतीफ की जो संख्या है, this is very less, and for that particular reason what we find is that once this decline phase comes, then what has to be done by the company, that is what we have to look in for the marketing strategies. So over here, friends, it is very important for you to understand when the sales start coming down, what you have to do. Cut down your marketing expenses. Think in terms of a new type of a product. If you are not going to take these types of steps, what is going to happen? You will be out of business altogether. And therefore, we as marketers do not want to be out of business. But moment we get this type of a feeling that sales has started coming down for our product, now we start using some type of strategies, and you can see again in the form of a slide that what type of these strategies we are using. We phase out weak products, the products which are considered to be dogs. Dogs means that the existing sales is not coming, as well as the market share is also going down. So therefore, they have become virtually dogs to us. And therefore, we are not interested to keep them any longer, and we want to phase them out. That means we want to divest, we want to leave them out. Then what happens? अगर हम ये देखते हैं, we are in a position to what? Further increase the sales by cutting down the price, we don't have any problem. So we try to cut down the price. But again, I have already said, since there are laggards in the market, even declining prices are not going to help them. Because very small percentage of consumers are called as laggards, and very small percentage of market consists of these laggards. And this is because of this particular reason the sales have started coming down. And now what happened is that we further cut down our distribution also, and again from intensive distribution we move back to selective distribution. And phase out whatever are our weak outlets where we find we are not in a position to get any type of a business. Then what happens is that we further reduce our advertising, because now we are not interested to spend on the marketing if we are not getting the desired results. Further what we happen is that sales promotion are now non-existent. We basically withdraw all our sales promotion schemes, because we are not going to get any leverage even if we are trying to give sales promotion schemes in the market. So students, I think you must have realized that when we talk of a product, what we find is that there are different phases through which this type of a product passes, and when the product is moving from one stage to the second to the third, and third to the fourth stage, there are different types of marketing strategies. But ultimately all these marketing strategies direct and aim towards only one objective: how to maximize our sales, and therefore how to maximize our profits. In the introduction stage, I have already said profit is almost zero, sales have started growing. In the growth stage, sales are on the rise, profits are also on the rise. In the maturity stage, sales are at the maximum, profits are also at the maximum. In the decline stage, I've already said sales are coming down, and what we are finding, therefore profits are also coming down. So this is how exactly we have got two types of, say, curves which move together. One is a sales curve, and another is the profit curve. Now, one more thing, if you look in for the graph which I had shown you in the first slide, that was the shape of the product life cycle. You must have seen that shape was a bell-shaped curve. Now, we have to be again very clear that all products do not follow the bell-shaped curve. Now we have got certain type of products in the market which normally follow some other types of shapes. So therefore friends, we normally have what we are talking in terms of three other shapes, and let's first of all see the first shape. And if you look in for this first shape, this is called as growth, slump, maturity pattern. That means the sales rise, then reaches at a peak, then slightly slumps down, and then again what we are finding is that constant after a particular level, and therefore this is called as growth, slump, and then what a maturity pattern. But not all products, that is what we have already said, not all products exhibit what a bell-shaped curve. So this is also a shape which we are finding. And what type of a product which you can feel like belongs to this type of a category? Most of the pharmaceutical products. Now what happens is that if that medicine is introduced in the market and in fact good effects of that particular medicine, they are introduced, they take off, they reach to a particular level, new medicine comes, they slightly the sales come down, but again what we find that they attain a type of a level where the sales almost remain constant. That means that medicine is never out of the particular marketplace. Maybe instead of that particular medicine we have some other alternative in the market, right? Now if you look in for the second shape of the curve, this is the second shape, and this is called a cycle-recycle pattern. What is cycle-recycle pattern? That means a product follows one cycle which consists of these four stages. Then again there is a slight jump, and what happens again, the market revives, and again there is a second cycle or a second life that has been given to whom? To that type of a product. But when we talk in terms of a second life that has been given to that type of a product, that second life will not be that good as compared to the first life when the product was introduced in the market. And if you look in for this type of category where we find what the cycle-recycle pattern, then most of the sports goods, if you look in for, they belong to this type of a category, right? Now we have the third type of a shape, and if you look in for this third shape, what we find is called as a scalloped PLC. Scallop means what? It keeps on growing but scalloping, but rising at a constant pace. And if we find this type of a rise in the sales, then what we are finding, we have various types of products which even follow this type of a pattern. And if you take the examples that what type of a product comes out over here in this scallop, you find the computers as an electronic medium. What we find that their sales are always on the rise. We find there is a growth in the sales when this P1 was introduced, then P2, P3, P4, and now the laptops are there. But what we are finding, sales for these computers are always following what is called as a scallop pattern, right? So what is very important for us to understand is that it is not always a bell-shaped curve which is normally followed by all types of products. The products can also follow these three different type of shapes which we have already seen in terms of we are finding the growth, then there is a slump, and then maturity, second cycle recycle, and this is third is called a scallop product life cycle. And therefore if you look in for what are the uses of the product life cycle, why we are basically teaching you that you should basically know this particular concept of product life cycle. What ultimately is the significance of this particular topic? For this particular reason, we can basically look in for that if we talk of the product life cycle, it asserts four important things to us. Number one, products have a limited life, and therefore for that particular reason do not try to have a sentimental attachment with what? Any type of a product. And normally we have seen in the marketplace people are saying, sir मेरे दादाजी ने ये product बनाना शुरू किया था और सर अगर मैं इस product को छोड़ दूंगा तो उनकी आत्मा को क्या होगा? So friends, we do not have that type of sentimental attachment with the product. Every product has a limited life. That does not mean that the world is only limited to that type of a product. If we can innovate and we are in a position to find some substitute, you have seen how the wooden doors being replaced by what? Plastic doors. Plastic doors, now we have a substitute in terms of aluminium doors. But ultimately door as a category is there, but the material for that door has changed. So that is how exactly the product as a category has the longest life cycle, but when we talk in terms of a particular type, maybe that type has what? A small life cycle, right? So products have a limited life. Second, if you look in for the use, product sales pass through distinct stages, each posing different challenges, opportunities and problems to the seller. And this is very important for us to understand, and this we have I think discussed in detail, that there are four stages and every stage has a unique challenge for the marketeer. Now the third very important thing is that there are not always profits at all stages. Profits we are finding they rise, then they fall at different stages of the product life cycle. And the fourth very important thing is that products require different marketing, financial, manufacturing, purchasing and HR strategies in each stage of the product life cycle. Not only this friends, if you look in for further, what are the other uses? Now the product lifecycle concept portrays the sales history of a typical product as a bell-shaped curve, but when we talk in terms of this bell-shaped curve divided into 4 different stages, you can look in for introduction stage. I'm just trying to revise it again. A period of slow sales growth as the product is introduced in the market. Profits are non-existent because of the heavy expenses incurred during this stage. The growth stage, where the period of rapid market acceptance and substantial profit improvement. Third, maturity stage, period of slowdown in sales growth because most potential buyers have already accepted the product. Profit stabilize or decline because of defending the product against the competition. And the fourth is decline, the period when sales slow or downward drift and profits finishes. Right? So these are the 4 stages which we had already seen, and this is what let us again look in for. When I say product category, I think I define it in this particular fashion, like we say category of cigars or category of newspapers, or we are talking as categories as what electronic device, or I say category as handicrafts. So these are categories. The categories have the longest life cycle. Now when we move from categories into the specific types, I am talking in terms of product form. Like I say, typewriters. We can have electronic typewriters, we can have computers. Then when we talk in terms of electronic typewriters and computers, then practically these are the product form. Then they have got a life cycle which is shorter than the life cycle of a product category. Then when we talk in terms of a particular brand, now instead of saying it is an electronic typewriter, now I say Godrej electronic typewriter. And moment I say Godrej, so it is a brand which I have associated with a product form. Then friends, we have to look in for that these types of brands still have a smaller life cycle as compared to the product form in general. Now when I say detergent is a category. When I am talking in terms of liquid detergent, this is a form. Its life cycle will be shorter than what detergent category. And when I talk in terms of, say for example, surf, it becomes a brand. So when we talk of this particular brand, then normally as a brand what we see is that the life cycles are the shortest. So this is how exactly you have to differentiate that the category, the form and the product as such, when it is a branded product, have different types of life cycles, but they normally passes through all the 4 stages that we have already discussed, right? Now and if we therefore look in for this type of a concept of product life cycle, again I would like to add out over here that this type of concept is very helpful to us when we basically introduce ourselves in the marketplace. Not only that, this concept also helps us to understand that there is a lot of competition in the market, and because of this competition in the market, the product is passing through these various stages. If there would have been no competition, think, I am in a monopoly position, then basically these phases would also be what? Non-existent. Although what we talk in terms of a life cycle of a person, we find that with the age he is moving in those types of life cycles. But when we talk of a product, then this product will not have any life cycle. It will be evergreen till the time when we find there is no competition in the market. But friends, if there is a competition in the market, then definitely what we find that the life cycle of the product is definitely limited. And then the marketeers, they have to really be concerned and careful that when the product is having different types of life in terms of different stages through which it has to pass, what type of strategies they have to look in for. And I will also like to add out over here one more thing, friends, which you have to be very careful, that what we have to look in for is that when we talk in terms of a product, it is not like that every product has to follow the same type of a life cycle. And this is what I have already said. I basically started my presentation with a product like CFL, and I have already given you what is CFL, compact fluorescent lamp. Now let us try to look in for a product which is called as a detergent. And we have already seen that this category has already been introduced in the market. And if I talk in terms of Hindustan Lever, and I talk in terms of one of the brands of the Hindustan Lever, and that too as a Surf as a brand, what you are finding? Have you ever seen that the Surf as a brand has ever declined in terms of sales? And if this particular brand Surf, which is there in the market and has not declined in terms of sales, what is the basic reason behind it? Why this particular brand? I say brand when we talk in terms of may have a limited life as compared to that of a category. So what is the basic reason? Why this brand is not in a position to what? Go to the decline stage. So one thing is very clear, that this brand in a way has become a category in itself. And when I say brand has become a category in itself, it means what? People, they go in the marketplace and they do not say कि भाई detergent देना. They ask for this type of a detergent by name, भाई सर्फ देना. और सर्फ देना इसका मतलब ये है कि they basically are not only interested in surf, but maybe even if they are looking in for Ariel, the common word what they are using for detergent is what surf dena bhai. So when we say that the brand name becomes so popular in the minds of the consumer, then that brand name becomes a generic name, and because of that generic name, it becomes a category in itself. Now, if I say that the brand has to become a category, so you can imagine what type of efforts had to be put in by whom? By the company who basically is trying to introduce this type of a brand in the market. And I am giving an example of Hindustan Lever. Look in for how much of the ad spend they are having to popularize this type of a brand. Not only that, what you had look in for different variants which they have introduced in the market. And if you look in for the latest ad for Surf, and that is called Surf Excel, what you have seen, whatever message has been given in this type of an ad in order to offset the competition in the market. Now you must have seen that there is a boy and a girl who are coming from their school, and what has happened is that all of a sudden the girl falls down in a pond of a dirty water, and there is a brother who is basically following that girl, and he immediately bends down and basically what start giving lot of punch to what, that dirty water. Sorry मांगो, तुमने मेरी बहन को क्या है, चोट पहुंचाई है, sorry मांगो. And he is what, basically thumping the dirty water. And because when he is thumping the dirty water, what we are finding, those dirt is coming on the clothes. And when the dirt is coming on the clothes, it means what, that the whole clothes have been basically spoiled, and there's a lot of dirt on the clothes. And therefore it is a big problem for whom? For the consumer. And when this type of fear has been given, in the last one punchline has been shown. And what is that punchline? Surf Excel hai na. चिंता ही क्या है जब सर्फ एक्सेल है ना. So that means it has been shown that the product is not only the product as a brand, but this brand is also having that type of properties that is trying to take care of all types of problems of the consumer. So what I just want to bring before you, what I am trying to highlight out over here is that this product life cycle is very important concept, but we have not to look in for that it is not possible for the marketeers to extend what is called as a maturity stage. And very nicely, I think you must have understood the example of this surf. This is how exactly by introducing more and more variants, more and more sachet as well as what in different forms. Now we are in a position to what, create this type of a feeling in the minds of the consumer that this type of a brand can live for a longer period of time. And this is how exactly all marketeers, when they are in the marketplace and they are trying to face the competition, they have to be very, very clear that they have not to sit ideal, but they have to monitor the sales of their product. And whenever they find that the sales of the products are coming down, they again have to go over there to the marketplace and carry out a survey to find out what is the basic reason why the sales have coming down. Now, if the sales are coming down, maybe the consumers are not finding the product up to the mark. That means there is some problem in the marketing mix. Or what we are finding is that type of a product no longer is acceptable to whom? To the consumer. You have already seen, friends, we used to drive scooters, and when motorcycles came, what we had seen, now there is a more and more interest of the consumer to drive what? Motorcycles. So therefore the sales of the scooters are coming down, and therefore it will be futile for what, new and new manufacturers to come into the market to produce what? Scooters. Even if the scooters had to be produced, we have to think in terms of 4-stroke scooters instead of what, 2-stroke scooters. And this is how exactly by introducing new technology, maybe we have given a thump to the declining sales of scooters. But in any case, friends, whatever is the mood of the consumer cannot be changed. If they want to go in for motorcycles, they will go in for what? Motorcycles. But we are not sure up to what particular time the market for the motorcycles will be existing. Maybe if some other alternative comes in the market, and therefore this is what we are talking in terms of new and new product innovations. And this is how exactly, friends, what we have to understand is that this concept of product life cycle is very important, and therefore my request to all of you is that try to basically go through the slides which I had given it to you out over here, plus you must be having some type of notes with you, and try to master this type of a concept. And this is a very important concept for all types of marketeers. It's not only a theoretical concept, let me assure you, it is really a practical concept which is basically being used by the marketeer at the time when they are there in the marketplace, right? So this is how exactly I think you must have got to know about this concept and the strategies which are basically used at the different stages of the product life cycle. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Mittal, for making the presentation so simple and so interesting and I do hope that all the learners might have got each and every concepts properly and thoroughly, as Professor Mittal has explained in a very beautiful manner. I thanks Professor Mittal once again.
Thank you, sir.